Hi, and welcome back to Reconfiguring Reality. I'm your hostess, Chesh.
And I'm Jesse.
I'm Laura,
I'm the Jericho.
and today our topic is
Valentine's Day.
Does anybody know when Valentine's Day originated?
No, I know it has
Nobody
something to
knows
do with
that.
some saint.
Not technically.
Valentine's Day officially became a holiday associated with love in the 1300s.
Okay.
I have a little bit of tidbits here. Let's see. Let's start with Valentine's Day officially became a holiday associated with love in the 1300s. The first mass produced Valentines were started in 1840s. Nearly 250 million roses are grown in preparation for Valentine's Day each year. The color of the flower holds a meaning. Red is love, deep pink is happiness, purple is royalty, white is sympathy. Conversation hearts, those conversation hearts that you buy, the little candies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little the ones that come in the box, right?
Yeah. The official ones are no longer in production because Necco closed down, but
Mm-hmm.
Conversation Hearts actually started as medical lozenges.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I have more about that. We can discuss it later. But the origin of Valentine's Day is widely disputed among people, and nobody knows the true background of Valentine's Day. So,
Correct.
historians believe that Valentine's Day is um, like Saint Valentine is the person behind the Valentine's Day holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere that I've been reading says that there are actually multiple Saint Valentines.
Correct.
What do you
In the
think?
church, there is three people with the last name Valentine that are associated with being Saint Valentine, but not all of them actually had reached sainthood. Um, and some of them have very vague, like no one really knows why they became a saint or what they did exactly, but they just were there. But the two most famous, one was in prison, and he was a someone who either fell in love with a young lady who just happened to be visiting prisoners, or it happened to be the jailer's daughter. And he's the one that's credited with the tradition of giving like a written Valentine because he signed her sent her a letter before his execution, basically thanking her for her kindness and what have you, and he signed it "Your Valentine."
Oh.
Actually, I
And
found more on that story. It was the jailer's daughter, but it wasn't love. He was her teacher. She was blind and miraculously like was able to see again, and he taught her how to read and write.
yeah, see, that's where like history and doctrine seem to get back and forth about arguing because like the stipulation of their relationship and also whether he performed the healing himself
Right.
uh, or not are kind of disputed. Like they know these events happened in correlation with that time period and the two of those people, but they argue as to whether one was the other or
Okay, here's the
whatnot.
snippet. Um, One Saint Valentine was supposedly a Roman priest who performed secret weddings against the wishes of the authorities in the 3rd century. Imprisoned in the home of a noble, he healed his captor's blind daughter, causing the whole household to convert to Christianity and sealing his fate. Before being tortured and decapitated on February 14th, He sent the girl a note signed Your Valentine.
There's another thing that they talked about with theologians, whether or not the two Valentines, that one and then the other one who was doing secret weddings, are the same person or two different people.
Yes.
Because they had different names. Like they had Valentine, but back then it wasn't Valentine. That's the more European version. The Roman was Valentinus.
Right.
Mhm.
So
So
Valentinus was a common name in ancient Rome. There were plenty of candidates for the saint. However, the story of Valentinus, who inspired today's cards and flowers, is connected to a priest or bishop who celebrated marriages between Christian couples in the time that uh, Claudius, is that who it was?
Claudius, yeah.
Yeah.
He forbid marriage of young men because he felt that unwed men made better soldiers. So
Yeah, this
he
was
outlawed
political.
marriage. And Valentinus married people behind closed doors and hid it. And
Yeah, a lot of people thought that it originated from the Roman tradition, and I'm gonna butcher the name, but I think it's Lupercalia.
oh, I have that written down. It is, where's that paper?
But that's like many practices in the church. It the church had its own thing that was something similar, but it was a way to phase out other religions. So they outlawed the practice of that love celebration, and then eventually, deemed that like this month was about love, and then narrowed it down to February 14th.
Oh, well, that's not exactly what I heard about It's Lupercalia. Lupercalia. Um, it's actually I really looked into this because I felt it was something that Jess would know a lot about. I'm kind of surprised she doesn't. Do you know anything about Lupercalia? Okay,
Why would Jess know about it?
because it's interesting and it's bloody and um,
It sounds familiar, but my brain is such in a fog right now.
right.
And I'm not a fan of Valentine's Day. I'm sorry. So,
I call it Singles Awareness Day because I've never actually had a Valentine's Day to celebrate.
Well, I'm gonna get this. Lupercalia, um, traces back. Well, it can be traced as far back as the 6th century BC. It is a Roman legend. This is from the History Channel. Again, we are not sponsored by the History Channel, but that's where I found a lot of my stuff. So, according to Roman legend, the ancient King Amulus ordered Romulus and Remus, the twin nephews and founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. A servant took pity on them, however, and placed them inside a basket on a river instead. The river god carried the basket of the two brothers downriver to a wild fig tree where it became caught in the branches. The brothers were then rescued and cared for by a she-wolf in a den at the base of Palatine Hill, where Rome was founded. The twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife and learned their father's trade. After killing the uncle who ordered their death, they found the cave den of the she-wolf who nurtured them and named it Lupercal. It's thought that Lupercalia took place in honor of the she-wolf and to please the Roman fertility god Lupercus. So this ritual took place from February 13th to February 15th. Um, it began at the Lupercal cave with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. The
Dog.
sacrifice and dog, yeah, and a dog.
It's a statement I never thought I'd hear put together.
The sacrifices were performed by Luperci, I don't know, a group of Roman priests. Afterwards, the foreheads of two naked priests were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. The blood was then removed with a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Roman priests laughed. Not sure why they're laughing there, but okay.
What? Why a dog?
That is not actually mentioned why the dog,
There's
but
a lot of reasons as to why those things happen. It's with ancient rituals and practices, it's often like iconography that comes into it. So like basically, why would you choose a goat or a dog? And then it's some symbol because they represent something. It's like why birds are also represented as part of the holiday and associated with love was because most birds in their given area mating seasons started around that time in February. So,
Makes sense.
turtle doves, all the things, and a lot of birds mate for life. Not like every bird, but a lot of them do. Or even when they don't, they're seen as pairs. They don't necessarily hibernate in big groups or anything, or congregate rather. So because of that, they just associate it, right? They look around and go, what animals are doing things that make sense? Okay, well these two animals, birds, always look to be together, even if they had multiple partners, because they look identical, right? So
Okay.
okay. So, in ancient Rome, feasting began after the ritual sacrifice. When the feast of Lupercal was over, the the Roman priests cut strips, also called thongs, of goat's hide from the newly sacrificed goats. They then ran naked or nearly naked around Palatine, whipping any woman within striking distance with the thongs. During Lupercalia, the men randomly chose a woman's name from a jar to be coupled with for the duration of the festival. Often the couple stayed together until the following year's festival. Many fell in love and married. Um, so basically, and I saw somewhere else a different description of this, but basically, Lupercalia was a pagan festival, and it's pagan because it's not Christian. A pagan festival held every year through February 13th through 15th, and it was believed to be a bloody, violent, sexually charged celebration awash with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking, and coupling in hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility. One place I saw said that the whipping of the women with the blood soaked whatever, it was a race and they were whipped the women along the race line. And the women
Oh.
actually like welcomed the slapping of the blood soaked linens or whatever it was because it was to give them a higher chance of fertility in the year coming.
Okay.
So they welcomed it. It wasn't like, come here, I'm going to beat you against your will. It was, here, have some luck, you know. So that was interesting. But
we should have like a PSA on that.
it looks like a lot of places that the Christian religion took focus of the holiday away from that because it was sacrificial and violent and not Christian.
I
Well,
mean,
the thing about that you have to remember this that not to get on a crazy topic, but Christianity wasn't involved in a lot of these decision making. Like when Rome, its tactic was to absorb and then abolish. So in order to capture all this land and people and stifle rebellion, what they would do is say, hey, come on in. We know you're not happy about being conquered, but you still get to practice freedom of religion and do what you want to do, just as long as you also adopt our gods, will adopt yours. And then through that indoctrination, they slowly phase out other religions. So Christianity, because of its technically wide acceptance, and I don't mean its acceptance, but like its practice of accepting all people, it made it easy for them to say, well, yeah, God loves everybody. Yeah, go ahead, sacrifice the goat. It's cool. And then all of a sudden down the road go, nah, that's not as cool anymore. And because they've already used to listening to God amongst their other gods, right? It's easier for them to just kind of go with the program.
Well,
my
according
my th- never mind. No, this is for religion part two.
yeah, according to history.com again though, um, Lupercalia was outlawed at the end of the 5th century by a pope. because it was
Oh
deemed
yeah.
unchristian. And they have that written down in history. It does say, though, that it was not until much later that the day became um, associated with love. And you're right. In France and England, February 14 was the beginning of the bird's mating season, which added to the idea that the middle of Valentine's Day should be a day of romance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and of course, everybody knows about Cupid, right?
Yes, I was gonna say, I always thought Valentine's Day was because of Cupid for some reason.
And what Cupid do you know of? Which one are you talking about?
Is that the one with the diaper and the bow and arrow?
No, I'm talking about the Roman god Cupid.
The Greek mythology? Yeah.
I thought it was Roman.
Cupid is often portrayed on Valentine's Day cards as a naked cherub launching arrows of love at unsuspecting lovers.
Well,
Oh,
he's been missing for me for I don't know how many years, so he needs to get his shit together.
okay, so we're both right, Jess.
Okay.
But the Roman god Cupid has his roots in Greek mythology as the Greek god of love, Eros.
Yeah. So
Okay.
again, not to get on a whole discussion of that, but all the Greek pantheon came first, and Romans stole it, like they did everything else, and they just renamed
No,
a bunch
that's
of
fine.
stuff. Yeah. So Cupid was Aphrodite's son,
Well,
but yeah, he was
that
Eros originally.
accounts of his birth vary. Some say that he is the son of Nyx and Erebus, others of Aphrodite and Eris. Still others suggest he is the son of Iris and Zephyrus, or even Aphrodite and Zeus. So his
Yeah.
actual parents are unknown.
Well,
Yeah, see, I was always told he was Nyx's child.
the problem is with like the Roman and Greek mythology is it's the scholars who we look to for sources are people who write like one poem or a collection of folk tales, so it keeps getting changed because it's hundreds of years apart, and so yeah, it's there's a there's an origin story for just about every god that varies in some wild way. Only like the really pronounced gods ever seem to be somewhat more concise because their stories get told more often. So like Zeus.
I may need you guys to explain this one to me, because it says here if Zeus had been his father, he would also be his grandfather.
Yep, because Aphrodite is Zeus's child.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
But to
Oh,
be fair, Greek and Romans often kept it in the family. So I mean,
well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the whole pure bloodline, right?
not
I
even that, just
guess.
that.
Not even that, it was just what the gods did. 'Cause they don't have genetics really. They just pop kids out with whoever they feel like out.
I mean, and even in common practices, right? Like if you don't have a fresh source of people, you're going to mate with whoever's around, right? You're not gonna because travel and stuff was different back then. It happened plenty of times. It's just if you had status to keep or if your particular area or you know people that you belong to, your culture basically said this is okay or that's not okay. It made you know procreation difficult.
So then this article continues to say that according to Greek archaic poets, Ares was a handsome immortal who played with the emotions of gods and men, using gold arrows to incite love in laden ones to sow aversion. It wasn't until the Hellenistic period that he began to be portrayed as the mischievous, chubby child he'd become on Valentine's Day cards. So he was a jokester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean a lot of gods were like we think of the famous ones like Loki, right? But there's many gods who
Loki's
just
actually not a
played around.
god.
He's a demigod, isn't he?
He's a giant.
He's a giant.
He's a frost giant, man.
Yeah, but he's not a god, but he's pretty much been given like the status of a god. People worship him and stuff like that. So
Also, Norse gods aren't like what you picture as a traditional god.
yeah, like Tyr's a one-handed god. Zeus is a one-eyed god. Yeah.
Like they're more mortal than what we think of as gods. Like don't think of like snap your fingers and magic stuff happens. Think more of like just powerful D&D characters.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Let's see what else is there. Looking through all my notes. I found a whole background on Saint Valentine of Tourney,
Well,
which is the one in Italy.
my question more is why, how did it become this huge like cash cow? Really, like it has no, Valentine's Day in my eyes has no like connection anymore whatsoever to any type of religion or anything like that, because people, they don't go
Well,
to church on Valentine's
well, let's
Day.
think about it. It really kind of does, though, because could represent the blood from the sacrifice of the goats, and white could represent the milk on the rags that they cleaned up with, right? So we've got ties there to the.
Yeah, but then you have people like me who hate fucking roses. I would if and when I ever found anyone who actually is even just like a little bit of a romantic, they would know better than to get me roses. Like that's the
Right.
thing. Like it now in my eyes, it's not. It does not have anything to do with like a religion. It's more of a cash cow for card companies, candy companies, flower companies, because
Well,
that's the status quo now.
well, that's consumerism and capitalism for you, right? Like every major holiday we have now in the West, and that it is also celebrated in the European regions, is basically made up. It has origins and has things where at one point in time it meant to be something different, but just like the English language itself, it's constantly evolving, right? So cool used to just mean temperature, but then it took on another meaning, right? So
Mhm.
the same thing goes with our various holidays. At one point, someone's like, we want a day to represent romance because our culture was so fixated on having no free time. Because remember, we think of it today in the modern society as like having weekends off, right? And having a 5 day work week. Well, back in the day, there was no 5 day work week. There was no lunch breaks. There was no any of that. It was
Mhm.
work until you drop. So
You
when
work
you
when the
would
sun goes up and the sun comes. You stop when the sun goes down.
exactly, so taking a day off is for the rich or leisurely or nobility because they had that kind of wealth to do that. The average person didn't, so it was a foreign concept.
Hmm.
So as part of consumerism, to tap into that market and to make people want to buy that, they had to dress it up. And they used to have lots of celebrations throughout the various things that aren't necessarily recognized as holidays, but just like just look at today's society with trans people and allies and all this sort of thing, right? There was no official history behind that. There was things you could tie to it, but they wanted something to celebrate. They wanted to have a way to appreciate what they had. So Valentine's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these things were excuses that people used to celebrate, right? Something that people could rally behind for one reason or another, just to bring awareness, attention, and celebration to whatever the concept that they were uh, trying to push forward. So
Hmm.
Valentine's Day, it's romance and love, new beginnings, things like that. Christmas is about charity, giving, helping others, you know, and so on and so forth. Each holiday basically is themed around an ideal.
Even if the
Yeah,
idea is
well,
not
it's just,
correct.
it depends. Like a lot of I a special guest star Tallulah. Um, well, like for me, like I celebrate May Day, which is May 1st, but it's not celebrated the way it used to be because you're praying to the gods for a good harvest. Well, I'm not a farmer.
Well, I
So
was
for me it's something totally different, and like there's nothing that I can think of really like where Valentine's Day is like a actually like true holiday in what I follow and believe.
my response to even if it's not correct was in light of St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah, that one we'll get on another
Yeah,
time.
but I think that one of the reasons why Valentine's Day became a day of love is because Saint Valentine's of Tourney Saint Valentine of Tourney, I hope that's how you say it. Saint Valentine of Tourney um, was a patron of lovers, and because of the whole marriage behind the closed doors and stuff like that,
Hmm.
I think that's why it became of love. And instead of handwriting notes to people, they were able to mass produce cards when the printing press came out. So of course, publicize that, make money off of it, right? Did you know that Saint Valentine of Tourney was not just a patron saint of lovers? He was also
What else?
the patron saint of two other things.
How can you be a saint to more than one thing? I thought you got sainthood for like one single thing.
I don't know, but I have it
No,
here.
you can have multiple things attributed to you, but not necessarily because you gain sainthood over that. Generally, you're right. Sainthood is for like a think of it like a medal of honor or something, right? It's like for a specific reason,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same reason people pray to Mary for the health of their baby and stuff like that. It's
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of things that fall under your umbrella, and that's basically how gods work too, right? Like so you had
Yeah. Yeah.
war, but you also had war and knowledge, war and
Like Athena
revenge.
was the goddess of wisdom and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
A lot of war gods.
Yeah.
So Saint Valentine of Tourney was the patron saint of epilepsy.
Really?
His
I mean,
role as a patron saint of epilepsy is less widely known, for epilepsy was defined as an incurable disease thought of as a supernatural event, such as a curse or possession by an evil spirit. Since there was no cure for epilepsy, healing was only possible by divine intervention, and saints were called upon to intercede for these patients. While Valentine is widely known as the patron of lovers, very few people know he was also helpful and beneficial to people with epilepsy in ancient times. There's a third one.
that what's the third one?
Besides couples, love, and happy marriages, you might be surprised to know that Saint Valentine is also the saint of beekeepers, charged with ensuring the sweetness of honey and the protection of the beekeepers.
Would you call bees a love bug at that point?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm allergic to them, so I'll call them whatever they want to be called at a distance.
When you said he was the patron saint of epilepsy, all I can think of is like they must have looked at somebody like post coitus and been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, apparently, there were 40 saints associated with epilepsy, and he was one of them. I guess epilepsy falls into sickness, right? So, love and sickness is what he was a patron saint over. And beekeeping.
And I gotta have a hobby. You know, it's a it's a good point though that we're talking about the evolution of holidays and traditions and things like that. You know, to flip the other side of the coin, right? Valentine's Day, along with other religions, is also a huge time of unrest. A lot of people get depressed, because they're reminded that they're alone or they don't have somebody, and they feel that societal pressure to be with somebody.
Oh, then that might be what I'm feeling then today. Because we keep talking about like Valentine's Day and shit. That might be what I'm feeling.
But we love you, Chash.
I know, but I just, I want my person, you know?
Well, I mean,
And every time Valentine's Day gets brought around, it's like, oh, another kind of reminder.
I don't know. I was single for many Valentine's days. I guess maybe it's because I don't celebrate holidays to begin with that it was just kind of like another day, except for the
Hmm.
fact that Necco candy was on sale.
Well, also, sweetheart, you have to remember, we're older, right?
Right, but I was young
Yeah.
and single. I was a single parent in my 20s and 30s.
True. But were you alone a lot during that time
No,
period?
I had my kids.
That's kind of what I'm alluding to. Like, in today's culture, especially, people are more isolated from each other. We have a lot
Hmm.
of like electronic barriers keeping us from engaging with people.
Right.
So the feeling of isolation is much more profound than it was during our generation, where we, you know, we were raised in an era where, you know, the idea of spending all your time talking to somebody on a phone or even when texting came out was, abhorrent. It was just, we were like, why would I want to do that? I just go talk to you. It's so weird to like read a stupid letter every time I have to talk to you. But now it's just part of our culture, right? Everybody texts, everybody emails. So that's how people communicate now. But back in our day, we would just as soon go talk to you than talk to you on the phone or do whatever. But all that, changed as the years and technology grew.
Did you guys have like Valentine cards that you made when you were in school with like the
we used
lollipops?
to, yeah, we used to do stuff like that, but
Yeah, we used to make the boxes and then.
Oh, the boxes.
Decorate the
Mhm.
so like when
shoebox?
we were yeah, when we were like
Yep.
little, we would do that and we'd like pass them around the classroom, and then of course as you get bigger, it's a bit more of like, oh, pay so and so and you'll, to give them a lollipop or some shit like that.
Oh, we didn't have that.
Well, that was high school for me because my elementary and my high school were a little bit different.
Right. I do
So like,
remember like if you did a Valentine, well, at least with my kids, if you did a Valentine's for one person in the classroom, you had to do them for everybody. When
because you
Oh,
didn't
I
want
hated
anyone
that.
to feel excluded, and
yeah,
then but for me, like in high school, that's when you started to feel excluded because certain people would get a fuck ton of shit, and you're just sat here like, okay.
in high school we had the chance to buy carnations for people
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
pretty.
anonymously, and you can buy a white one or a red one or a pink one maybe.
Mhm.
I think pink might have been in there too.
When I was in high school, they did candy instead. So you could buy somebody like a chocolate rose or a little box of chocolates or those little hearts.
Like a candy gram.
Hmm. And then it would be delivered. I always hated it because, like, I, I I get the point of it doing it to help somebody else, but there's people who either don't want that kind of attention or those who are just really not good, like with like PDA kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it even if they were happy to get something secretly from their crush or whatever, it can be mortifying. Like I remember being in a class where only one person got something, and although that
Oh,
person was popular and used to attention, when no one else in the class did, and they're all just staring at him.
oh.
They were just
No, I would hate that. My friends knew. They were smart enough to have like sent themselves the carnation to give to me at lunch because I didn't like that kind of attention.
I sent
See,
myself one once because I just
I
got the
always
candy.
I always felt bad because like to me that's like a like a how do I explain it? Like us as a friend group, we would always send them to each
Uh
other
huh.
because we didn't want anyone to feel left out, but that's like to me it's like a popularity contest or it's just kind of like it's kind of like ha 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 look all these people have someone who likes them but no one likes you kind of. That's just how I took it. I hated it.
I think ours was a fundraiser.
Or you have the people that they get a bunch of stuff from other people, and they look at you and they're like, "Here, we can share." It kind of just makes you feel a little worse.
Mhm.
I think ours was a fundraiser though. I think that's why people didn't really care if they got something or not because they knew it was a fundraiser. If that makes sense at all.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Like I said, I bought myself one just because I wanted candy, and they didn't sell candy normally in the school. It was fantastic.
Yeah, see, I always got one from my best friend, and she always got one from me. So,
Cute.
Yeah, I was an introvert. I mean, I still am, but like, anytime I didn't have anything in my box, it was like the happiest day ever. It was like, oh,
What
thank
about
God,
your
people leave
kids?
me alone.
Did you make Valentines for your kids?
no,
No,
never for my kids. Like, I helped them fill their Valentines out, but
My dad would put a single rose on my nightstand for Valentine's Day.
Aww,
oh,
that's so sweet. How could you
Yeah,
not love that?
so I do. I really liked because he'd get my mom a bunch of roses, and then I would get one on my nightstand when I would come home from school.
Oh, that's so cute. I don't ever remember my dad buying my mom flowers, but that could be just me not remembering.
Yeah, my mom loves getting flowers.
Huh.
yeah, for Valentine's Day when I was married, it was always awkward for me because anytime I would do something nice, it was like flipping a coin. I'd either get it like she'd start crying like hysterically as if like somebody just died, and she'd feel bad that she didn't get me something, or she would just be mad and like claim I put no effort into it. So it was just like,
Toss up.
And
yeah, it's like, why you?
for the record, that's his first wife, not me.
I
Because
kind of gathered that.
I don't really care about holidays, so yeah, I get what I want throughout the year.
I think she's Jeff. So for our beautiful listeners, you know, celebrating a holiday is great, but if you really want to make your relationship just shine, just get rid of the protracted have to do things on specific dates and just spread out all your gift giving through the year because it adds more emphasis and everything becomes more special. And it also becomes a pick me up for when they may need it because, they may be having a hard day or week or whatever. And it may be a lull between holidays and you can just be like, here you go.
Honestly, I really like that because everybody puts so much emphasis on like Valentine's Day or Christmas or, the really, really big ones and be like, oh, well, it's special because it's a holiday. And it's like, if you really love somebody, they're special enough for you and you should show them that.
And that's
yeah, just
Like every
randomly.
chance that you get.
and that's why with my kids I didn't celebrate holidays because if they wanted something, why am I going to wait months and months to get it when they might not want it then? Why not get it now if I can?
Like, yeah, it's great that you buy your significant other a dozen roses on Valentine's Day, but I can guarantee you, if they're having a hard frickin' day and you just stop even on the side of the goddamn road and pick just you see these pretty flowers and you pick them, that's gonna mean more to them than, oh well, it's Valentine's Day, so it's expected of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, because I feel like on holidays it's almost like an obligation. But
Right.
again, like if you really, really like this person, like this is your dream girl, or this guy treats you so right that it's just ridiculous and you can't believe it, and you want to show their appreciation. You don't need a specific day or a holiday to do that. If you love this person, just fucking show them.
I've lost count how many times Jericho has gotten me a little gift for no reason.
Yeah, and it can be little things. You can hand make them something. It doesn't have to be like big and expensive. It doesn't have to be jewelry. If, she likes that kind of stuff, you can make her earrings or you can make her something or you can buy something that's small that, you think she'll like.
Giggity.
It doesn't have to be, big and extravagant.
I feed her. That seems to work.
Yeah, that's usually how it is. I'm somebody that's very awkward when receiving gifts. Um I'm more of a giver than a receiver when it comes to receiving presents. I feel really awkward because I'm just like, I don't know how to react because I wasn't expecting this and I don't know what you're giving me. And that's usually the anxiety talking.
That's
And
how
I would rather, it be something special and not on a special day than, it be hush hush, secret, secret, oh, she's probably not gonna like this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would be very happy with a bag of conversation hearts.
You want to know a way to a woman's fucking heart is feed that bitch.
I
was gonna say, just be
I-
yourself.
I often say that my love language is food.
I like someone who can be themselves
Yeah.
and feed me. Take care of me because I can't do it myself, apparently.
Oh God, no, you can't.
Let me be a
Josh,
princess.
Do you want to be my Valentine?
Will you be mine?
Yes.
Jericho.
Then yes.
I called dibs on Jericho.
I would like my Valentine gift to be a airline vomit bag so that I can survive the rest of the podcast, please.
Oh.
Okay. There's also there's another little tidbit about Valentine's Day that I found. Did you know that it is the most common wedding anniversary in the Philippines?
Yeah. Oh, the Philippines.
In the
No, not that.
Philippines.
In the Philippines. Wow, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Yep.
Damn.
February 14th is the most common wedding anniversary in the Philippines.
See, that is something, and one day, hopefully, if I ever get a future spouse and I listen to this, I don't want to get married or engaged on Valentine's Day. I don't want it on a holiday.
No, I think it takes away from it. I mean, the day we got married was a specific day, and there's a reason behind it. But
But that's different. It wasn't a
not a holiday.
holiday. Yeah.
Yeah,
It has meaning for you too.
for me.
Oh, for you. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Thought it was for both. Sorry.
No. But I mean, he's the reason that the reason is there. If that makes sense. It does.
I just can't get over that date is the most like,
Yeah.
especially in the Philippines. I can't. I'm baffled.
Some of the other places that celebrate Valentine's Day on February 14th, besides the U.S., we have Britain, Canada,
Mm-hmm.
Australia,
Mm.
Argentina, France, Mexico, South Korea, and the Philippines.
Interesting.
Yep.
Do you guys like the hard little heart candies or do you like the softer ones?
Hard.
The newer recipe, Jess?
Neither.
Well, I mean, I really never noticed a difference. I've always chewed on them. So, like, I've never sucked on them or anything. It's always I pop them in and.
I like the softer ones, but I do the same thing. I chew them
Yeah, I do the
immediately.
same thing. I like the softer ones too.
Oh,
Now,
I can honestly say I have not had them in like years.
The recipe changed in 2019.
Oh yeah, I haven't had them since before then. So they've always been hard to me. So maybe I might have to suck it up and buy some quick to see what you guys are talking about.
Do you know there's dinner mints that the passed out dinner mints?
Yes.
I want those. That's what I want for Valentine's Day. But no, the conversation hearts were originally made as lozenges because back in that day, like medicinal lozenges, I can't say it. um, medicinal lozenges.
Lodgins.
Okay, right.
Anyways, we
Um,
digress.
they were the medicinal sucky thingies. Were made with. I can't find the ingredients now. I found it. Let's see.
see what you all started.
Okay. So the combination of ingredients was beloved by children, adults, and even GIs in World War One and World War Two. Nice. So I think they were like herbal medicinal properties. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just added sugar to it, but they were used as lozenges before then. Where did the conversation hearts and sayings come from?
the English language.
Conversation hearts were created after Daniel Chase conceptualized the idea of cutting their candy into hearts and stamping short messages on the bottom of the heart-shaped candy with red vegetable dye. It started with phrases like "married in white, you've been chosen right." Oh, you have chosen white. What? Married in white, you have chosen right. Or married in pink, he'll take to drink.
Aww.
Later, these outdated phrases would be abandoned for shorter, more loving thoughts like "be mine, kiss me," and the most famous "marry me." It's rumored that a man once used only "marry me" conversation hearts to propose to his girlfriend. Can you imagine a guy going through like bag after bag after bag of conversation hearts, picking out all the ones that say "marry me"?
I think it's kind of baffling that men put like wedding rings in food and in drinks and shit.
Yeah, I would
Like,
totally have
that seems
swallowed it.
so dangerous. Like this is completely off topic and I'm very sorry. I started following like medical accounts to look at x-rays and shit for the stuff I'm going to be doing in school and I just hit my mic. I do apologize. And like I'm kind of weirdly excited to see shit like that for Valentine's Day of like,
What,
oh,
the
I went to
people that
propose
swallow?
and now the wedding ring's stuck in her esophagus. Like
This kid
I
swallowed a toy car.
yeah. Like, don't put your shit in food and
Right.
in drinks. Like, but to go off of your thing of like somebody picking out "marry me" out of each like little candy, the cheesy side of me is like, oh, it's so sweet, and I would love that. And the logical side of me is like, why the fuck are you doing that?
What do you do with all the leftover
Like,
hearts?
what do you exactly put it in a fucking bowl somewhere at a retirement home or some shit like that and just let at it? Like, I don't. This seems like such a waste, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, it's so sweet. And again, that's the romantic side of me. You know,
Hey, those
I
are
want
good, man.
some
You
of that
just munch
shit.
them down. That's all you gotta do.
So,
I haven't had them in so long.
so as the years progressed, Conversation Hearts continued to add new sayings to their product, collaborating with the movie series Twilight, using phrases like "bite me" and "live forever."
See, bite me
Bite
could be
me. I
used
would
in
take the
so
bite me
many
one.
different ways. I would
But
take both. Love me
but
forever and bite me.
Live
no,
forever.
no.
Live forever.
Oh,
Bite me, I would take because it'd just sit there and be like, here, you know what? Fuck you.
hey Jesse,
Yes.
bite me.
They even opened it up to the public, asking anyone to submit their ideas for new sayings.
Mine would be fuck you.
I think I had made one that actually said that. But let's just, yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm wrong. It was 2018.
It'd be inappropriate hearts. It's that's what they need a line of
Yeah.
is just inappropriate hearts that
Oh,
you
I
have
think
to
they make
specially
them.
order. They make okay, there is a bakery. I think it's a bakery that will make like cookies in the shapes of those candies and will write whatever the fuck you want on them.
Yep.
They're like inappropriate something something. I have to find them.
Oh,
I
we
think
just
I
used a
follow them on
marker.
TikTok.
There is a festival in Japan that has to do with
Tallulah.
like yeah, it a men's area.
Oh, are you
Are we switching to penis candies now or what?
No, but it's like so you know how you can order like a bag of dicks and send them anonymously to
Suck a
someone?
bag of
Yes.
dicks.
I've thought of sending that to people on Valentine's Day.
Do that. I would fucking love that. Also, if we're talking dick, there's a bakery that makes dick and vagina shaped desserts.
Okay.
You
Well,
guys
that
are alone, you say, huh?
took an
Hmm,
took an interesting turn.
so weird. Oh, we can't
Sorry.
see it.
Oh my
Blame
gosh.
TikTok. I find this shit on TikTok. It's like I don't even know where these fucking people are. I don't think they're in the US, but like they legit make these pastries and I'm just like, "You know what? I'd like that. I would buy that."
Let's see. Some of the original sayings are still in rotation, including "Be mine, be good, be true, and kiss me." In the early 1990s, Sweethearts began an initiative to update the sayings each year, retiring some while adding others. The first new phrase, "Fax me," gained a lot of attention from Sweetheart fans. Following this notation effort, each year Sweethearts receives hundreds of suggestions from romantics, candy lovers, and school kids. From old tech call me to the new tech text me. The phrases have reflected eras throughout history. Angel, charm me, love bug, hot stuff,
I like Love Bug.
be true, hug me, yours forever, crazy for you, miss you, mine. Okay, soulmate, that was one. You're hot,
Oh, you're hot.
you're cute.
Okay. Is there one that just says you're attractive? Because I mean, that would take care of you're hot and you're cute.
Maybe. You shine.
Aw.
What other kind of candy do you guys remember from Valentine's Day when you were younger?
I mean, we had like the heart-shaped lollipops, but that's honestly it. Besides the little sweethearts.
I like the heart-shaped lollipops that tasted like syrup.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
They still sell those, by the way, at the
Yep.
Dollar Tree.
Of course they do. It's literally just pure sugar.
Sugar and water. What do you need? What else do you need? Oh, those are awful. You would think if Saint Valentine was the patron saint of beekeepers, they should have more honey-based candies on Valentine's Day.
I'm honestly surprised that there's not more honey-based candies on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We used to do like those you know how used to get like those chocolate coins that just tasted like crap.
Like they
They
took
used
Mhm.
baking powder or baking
yeah.
cocoa and made it into a patty.
So we used to get like hearts like that for Valentine's Day too.
Huh. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder why Valentine's Day candy tastes worse than regular candy.
I don't know. I get a lot of the Dove chocolate now, but I get that like all year round.
Uh-huh.
So
He's
Yeah.
over here bragging.
What's the most memorable Valentine's Day you've had, Jess?
mm, I guess really it would be the only one that that's really been like celebrated was it was my first year because I got married in December, so Valentine's Day was 2 months after we got married. And it was around the time of Mardi Gras,
Oh,
and my ex had to do security for the Mardi Gras parade for like the high command and everything like that. So he wasn't home on Valentine's Day. So the day before, he got me like 3 dozen roses. And then on Valentine's Day, he got me like this huge stuffed like bear, like almost like half the size of me. And then he got me another dozen roses and chocolate. And it just because he felt bad, but he didn't realize I didn't really do Valentine's Day.
right.
And so like I felt bad because I'm like, oh, thanks. And then I explained to him, to me, I would rather get stuff like this just randomly than on a day that it's expected.
Right.
Mhm.
But so his command, one wife tried to call and ask for her spouse to have the day off because it was their first Valentine's Day.
Oh wow.
He got in trouble. But I was just like, nah, go to work. And then because they had a break in between parades, so they were nice enough to let him leave quick, come pick me up and bring me so I could sit with him at least.
Oh.
But
That's
that's like
nice.
the most memorable one that I can think of. Otherwise, it's always just for me, like the perfect Valentine's Day, it would just be like a home cooked meal at night, sitting at home, just spending that quality time together. Not going out to a restaurant, not maybe go for a walk if it's nice out or something. Like just actually spending time. Even though, yes, I get it, it's a day, like a holiday. Well, okay, make that holiday where you're actually spending time together. No phones, no nothing.
Oh, okay, old fashioned.
See, I think like if I had to plan a Valentine's Day, it would kind of be it would be something similar. Like you order in or something like that, and you just spend time with your significant other. Whether it's you play a game together that you guys don't usually play, or you just hang out, watch a movie, cuddle, whatever. You're just with your person. You're with the person that you want to be with. Not the whole let's go out to a fancy dinner. And if a fancy dinner is your thing, or you go to the movies, or like Jesse said, you go for a walk like in a park or some shit like that, like just doing something that's like your thing and not like I guess going overboard. Because you hear all of like the Valentine's Day horror stories, or the people complain because they do last minute reservations or you don't get the table or whatever it may be.
You're
Just
waiting
do
forever,
something
even though you
nice.
have a reservation.
Exactly, that too. Like just do something nice, something small and sweet. I mean, for me, it's what I like. I come home for work or whatever. Let's say you're at home, having food already ready and just kind of chilling out. Just enjoying each other's company is nice for me.
Or even cooking together.
Yeah, cooking together is nice.
I want a score bar.
You want a what?
Score bar. S
I don't
K
know what
O
that
R.
is.
That's what I want for
Okay.
Valentine's Day. A score bar.
What is
There you
it?
go, Jericho.
It's a candy bar. It's a chocolate bar
Oh,
with like
a toffee.
yeah.
It's like a heart. Oh, I love those.
But the chocolate isn't normal chocolate. It's
No, it's
so good.
amazing.
And I like to eat the chocolate off the toffee in the middle and then eat the toffee.
I do the same thing.
Yes. So that's what I want for Valentine's Day. Especially since
Jericho,
it
make
falls
this
on a
happen.
Wednesday this week. Or this year. It falls on a Wednesday and that's like our busiest day. So
Jericho, make it happen.
Nuh-uh.
Nah. Oh, you
Can't make me.
mean.
Not gonna do it.
You mean now.
I think that's going to be it for today.
Sick.
Okay.
So that was the history of Valentine's Day and the 3 Saint Valentines that it's named after. I want to know though. It says 3, right, or multiple, but they only talk about 2 different ones.
Yeah.
So
I
one of
think
them was
those are
known
the
as the
main,
bishop.
like, yeah, prominent ones.
So the bishop they don't credit a whole lot to, and that's what they said. There's a theory out there that the 3 are one and the same, just 3 different points in that person's life.
Huh. That's interesting. That would be neat to read. Okay. Right. Perfect. Well, happy Valentine's Day to our listeners. Hope you all
Yep,
enjoyed
happy Valentine's Day.
Hope you all enjoyed our little talk. And
Yep.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, put it in the comments, ideas.
join our
Jump shot.
Discord.
Tell us about your thoughts on Valentine's Day
Do you
or
celebrate?
Single Awareness Day.
Do you
How do you
celebrate?
celebrate?
What's your favorite Valentine's Day to pass so far?
Even if you don't celebrate, what do you do?
Right. And thank you for joining us at Reconfiguring Reality, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.